What is up, everybody? It is worker to worker to worker. We've got a bonus worker today. It's triple worker day. Episode 11, I believe it is, and pretty special because it's like a contract super spectacular. We've got contracts in all stages of grocery going on right now, and I'm very lucky to have a friend from SoCal, Kathleen, who's joined us from UFCW 770, recently ratified contract. And we've got Jake coming out of Sacramento, UFCW Local 8. He's with me here in Local 8, and he's for Rayleigh. So their contract bargaining is like just kicking off into high gear after they sat behind us and waited for us to finish up. And then for those who've been following with Safeway, I'm from UFCW Local 8 in Redding, California, working for Safeway, and we just got our contract. Our tentative agreement was signed, and we're currently awaiting the details of that to vote on ratification. So all different scales of contract participation from all of us. My first time on the rank and file side, so it's been really exciting to experience and eye-opening, to say the least, and an insane realization of the like what fog of war does and like what not being able to see right in front of you, like the amount of fear that comes from uncertainty. Experience it firsthand. So I'm looking forward to talking about that. And Kathleen, I'm going to throw it over to you because you kind of had a special experience, one that we would never even get a whiff of. We wouldn't even get within 10 square miles of this. You're on the bargaining committee, right? So you were in the room for your negotiations. That's something a lot of us are wondering about. So what's up with that?
Okay, so SoCal has a really interesting thing going on. We have like 6 different unions that go all the way to like the bottom of Local 8. We've got Local 8A, and then all the way down to San Diego. Okay, so all of Southern California, all these different disparate locals bargain together. It's one of the best examples of collective bargaining, like among locals, that UFCW actually has. But of course, every single local has its own flavor. Every single president has their own philosophy, and it runs the gamut from, hyper member, like intense member engagement, like my local 770. We have a bargaining committee. We are expected to speak up. We're expected to argue down a point, not always in the room at the time, because with the different locals that had bargaining committees, that's like 40 of us, and nothing would get done if you have 40 people arguing. We were not even supposed to like make noise unless it was like kind of our turn to talk, unlike Local 7. Love them. They are such badasses. Anyway, and that doesn't always work. I mean, every now and again, the company says something and you can hear the ripple go through the room, like when they told us, since COVID, customers prefer self-checkout and they enjoy bagging their own groceries. And we were just like, and they don't mind long lines. They got used to long lines during COVID. And we're like, my God, you're so high.
Dude, that is so stupid. Like, yeah, dude, people get used to like everything. Like, just because your normal is standing in a long fucking line like for hours, that doesn't mean like it's cool.
Yeah.
Like, what?
I like it now.
It's like, sir, that's called intensification.
Yeah, dude.
It's happening everywhere.
That's crazy. Yeah, it was crazy after people got COVID. So that's what actually was one of the unknown symptoms. One of the hidden, like you guys don't realize this, but they actually brought it to the bargaining table and it broke the science. But everybody who had COVID, it's like a brain virus. Like if you watch The Last of Us, when you go into a grocery store now, you no longer seek the shortest line. Have you ever felt the urge to like get behind the longest line?
Exactly.
And just stand there because you love it?
No, I mean, it's just, the thing is, because people get long lines everywhere, because face it, like, grocery stores are no longer about selling groceries, right? I mean, this is the biggest problem that every single local who's been bargaining has been trying to get better language around staffing. And remember, we have never had to have staffing language because up until COVID, the grocery stores had a vested interest, right, in having stores that ran efficiently. Were there always enough hours? No. That's why, last time we bargained to get a 28-hour minimum. But the stores did want their own shops to function, right? And we might have had some disagreements on what that looked like. That is no longer the case. They're just trying to keep a certain amount of market share so that when they can replace us with robots, they have customers to sell to, right? That's basically their long-term plan. That's their 5-10 year plan. And in the meantime, they're making more money selling the information that these customers plug in with their discount apps. So they don't actually need their stores to function to the same level that they did in, say, 2019. So that is why we had to actually fight to get this very nebulous, puts all the onus on us to do it, staffing language, instead of like, we went in saying, just staff it like it was staffed in 2019, we'll be good. And they were like, oh my God, no, and this
So
is,
stupid,
and
dude.
so,
That's me. I'm like, hey, we just want like the 2010 pay differential to minimum wage. And it's like, are you insane? What are you crazy?
what do you think, we're made of money?
Dude, what are you talking about, dude? Back in 2010 when the streets were paved with gold.
Right, exactly. And they're like, well, high rents aren't our fault anyway. um so, but that's just thing, going kind of back to the basics. There's these things I've been seeing online, because I'm in all the Reddit threads, right? um
Me
and I
too.
read, and I don't always say something because I'm not stupid enough to get super involved in Reddit threads. I mean, I'm 60 next month, right? But the thing I keep seeing repeated over and over is basically this thing like the company is in bed with the union. No president cares. They know what the contract's going to be ahead of time. The union just goes in and does lip service and blah 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 blah. And no, it's really not like that. I've been in the room. I've been in a bargaining room with, at this point, 10 if you count Jacques, right? Who I
Yeah.
was only able to speak to briefly, but
Hey, but you
with
saw
10.
him, and then right after you saw him, he spawned into our life like a flower. Like once you've gave proof of life, once you validated that he was a living being, he spawned
Yeah.
into being before us, and it was like, "Yo, this is the Weekly Jock Podcast. Welcome aboard." I kind of hit you every Tuesday and give you an update on your
Wow.
contract. Yeah, dude, we got videos upon videos upon videos. It was awesome.
Well, there's a slight possibility, and I cannot say for sure that this is true. Um, but one of the other bargaining committee members, Rachel, who's been keeping up with Local 8 and what's going on with there, and she knows who you are and blah blah blah. I don't think she's been on your Discord, but she's seen some of the Reddit stuff. She and I were talking, and I was like, "Oh my God, I can't believe Jacques Level's here," and blah blah blah. They didn't even know if he was a real person. They thought, they just had these two photos, and it could be like 10 mice in a trench coat. Who knows, right? I said, but at this moment, we have seen Jacques Level more than 98% of his members, right? We know for a fact that he actually like lives and breathes and all this stuff. And so we were joking about that around the corner in this little room that was by the conference room that we're all meeting in. So we go out to get coffee, and he's like right there.
Busted.
So I don't know if he overheard us, and now he thinks that all the locals like see him like this instead of just like
I thought that was
intermember
just my
gossip.
people.
Yeah, so I mean, I can't say. But he was very nice. He gave a really well done speech about what membership means and stuff like that. Anyway, going back to, so I've been in the room with like 10 presidents with a variety of ideas about how membership works vis-a-vis their relationship with upper management within the union. And it's been fascinating because, okay, they're all going to talk the talk. That's literally their job, right?
Mm-hmm.
But like, okay, for example, we got this guy in our bargaining committee. He's president. His name is Joe Duffel. He's with Local 1167, and they're out somewhere. I don't
He's
know. These
very,
local
very
workers.
tall.
Huh?
Is he very tall?
He's tall. He's got like a blonde, super short hair. Like, remember that Bad Boys Club sticker? Like,
Yeah.
okay, you're old enough.
He
Yeah,
made
he
some
looks like
videos
that.
too.
Yeah. Um, and he has no bargaining committee members. So at first I was all like, oh, you're one of those pay your dues and shut up types. He's not. He's an incredibly hands-on president. He just doesn't want to spend the members' money on the very expensive process that is a bargaining committee. And because we have to deal with seven other locals, he can't open bargaining up for anybody who's interested, like they do in Local 7. Local 7, if you're in Local 7 and you want to come to bargaining, come on down. It is open. It is open bargaining. And we need to see more of that because the
Yeah.
expense of having a bargaining committee is a lot. And asking some of the smaller unions to take on that is, it's a lot to ask. But I know that there are members out there who would just show up if
Yeah.
they could. So we need to sort of start working toward that. Anyway, but this guy Joe, he always says a little president report on the website. He's got a summer report up right now, and at the bottom of it, he signs his name, and then he puts his office number and extension.
Call him up.
If you want to talk to Joe, he's real easy to get in touch with. He goes out in the field with some of his stewards and stuff like this, and so I had some really great talks with him. Some of the other presidents, not so much. They can't all be, my beloved President Kathy Finn, though. But it shows that we have a lot more cohesion as locals, right, than we think, because we have these crazy differences in SoCal, and yet we come together, and we usually have one of the best contracts of that contract season.
Just wait. We're not done yet. Don't give up on NorCal yet. Don't give up. We're not
Hey,
done.
I am praying for you guys that Jacques is getting super competitive right now, and he is going to be the best darn president, and he is going to get you the best darn contract you have ever seen. And we're going to just be like, we got to follow Lovell. We all love
Oh my
Lovell.
God,
Like,
dude. Close the bargaining. Shut it down behind closed doors. Do not prove you're alive. This is the way. Yeah. Hey, dude, if you get me a house, bro, I'll preach it. I'll be like, yo, I had no idea. Pay him $1 million and he got you a house. Like, that's insane.
yeah.
We're in an open experiment right now.
Yeah, but we'll see. I mean, I would like to think that he's feeling really super competitive, and that's going to do great things for you guys. I mean, fingers crossed, right?
So let me ask a question to the group. I'm going to throw this out there, and Jake, you can respond first. I think everybody on this call would agree. So if we rewind ourselves back in time to when all of our contracts were active here in the Safeway, Albertsons, and you could throw in Kroger, Coalition, and Raley's even, and we were talking across this Colorado, Washington, NorCal, SoCal, like you guys had grocery workers rising, which from the visibility perspective from the outside looking in was phenomenal, dude. Like that was awesome. It was like your guys' rallies were massive. All the symbology with like your matching colors and just like showing up in force, escalating actions throughout the course of the campaign. It was rocking, right? Like, and we were looking at that like, yes, on the whole Western region, let's all wear those shirts. Let's all go. And then it was like, in my mind, like we were doing it. Like we were kind of like some of the communication coming out officially from the locals was pointing to that reality, but not necessarily recognizing it officially. And then boom, fucking Colorado goes out on strike. Like, and when people are criticizing, like when I'm trying to preach on like some of the benefits of these democratic member driven locals, like Local 7, where I feel like the members have the ability to impact change on their union. The open bargaining aspect of it is insane, but you can tell that the members are deeply involved in the process, because when you start feeling as a worker that it's time to like start considering or start thinking about going on strike, they're on the streets like 4 days before that. So they're like, that the members are doing things because they do it. They just do it. That's like, hey, a majority of us feel this way. Boom, we're doing it. And they have the support to do that. But I was looking at all this and I'm like, dude, this is it. This is our power moment. Like if we can lock in, and I think everybody here would agree that if the whole Western region had stayed united through this entire process, all of us as workers would most likely have come out ahead. Now, there's a good chance that we could have really established something strong if we had done that. And I'm going to throw it over to Jake and just say, what do you think prevented that from fully coalescing, and how do we work to improve that? Because I felt like the workers, we were there. Like, we were locked in. We were talking to each other. You guys, Kathleen was in the bargaining rooms of other locals. Like, when has that ever happened where members were like cross-pollinating ideas and stuff like that?
Well,
Like,
I mean, that wasn't the locals.
yeah, I know.
That was me and essential workers.
That's what I'm saying. Like, what the members are trying to do, what we feel like is the right thing to do, is the most powerful thing. It would have given us the best outcome. So why isn't that happening? Jake first. What do you think?
I don't know. My wild guess would be regional differences, political differences between unions. I don't know. I'm not really privy to all that, but I would have to assume that, the Pacific Northwest would have different priorities than Southern California. I'm not sure. I mean, Kathleen, I think would be able to answer a lot better than me.
Okay. Here's
Yeah.
the thing. Our priorities are the same, right? It's just like our priorities are the same as individuals. Like, I'm like so far to the left, I'm parallel to the ground, but I have materially more in common with the reddest redneck Trump voter in Arkansas than I
100%.
do with any other class, right? I mean, our needs they're the same, right?
Yeah.
We need better hours, and we need better money, and we need to keep our health care, and we need jobs that actually have a future. Boom. That's it. There's no difference there, right?
Mm-hmm.
The problem is, when you're negotiating, you start off with a bunch of proposals. You're like, we want this and this and this and this. And basically their proposals are like, well, we want to take away whatever we got last time and say no to everything. Okay, so you're negotiating. You're not going to get everything you want. And there are certain things that are always going to be hyper important, right? The main one of those is medical. Like, the company pays for medical insurance, and we, our pay sucks, but our medical is great. Like, down here in Southern California, I swear to God, my medical, dental, and vision is worth more to me than my paycheck, right? Because I'm turning 60. Anyway, so if the company comes in, right, as they did in 3000, and says, look, you're having an issue with your medical, we're going to come in and we're going to fund it to the tune of millions and millions and millions of dollars. Plus, we're going to give you some of the other stuff we're asking for, right? Now, they cannot, like, by law, it would be an unfair labor practice, okay? Which would mess up negotiations real bad in a real legal way. They cannot slow down their bargaining. They can't say, that's kind of close, but we're going to wait for SoCal to catch up, and then we're going to all go on strike together to get more. They cannot, okay? Because we are not collectively bargaining. We are bargaining as individual districts, right? So when they are given something that is 80% of what they wanted for their members, right? They have to decide at that point, are we going to take this, especially when we're talking about something huge like medical and pensions and things like this. This is huge amounts of money, okay? Are we going to take this? Is this good enough? Or are we going to go on strike and try to get a little bit more, right? And part of negotiating is figuring out how much money the company is willing to spend, okay? So, like, the company has a pie, right? And we know that we're going to take a third of that pie for medical and pension benefits, right? But what we're also trying to do is see if we can't make the pie just a little bit bigger, because the pie that's in their head is much smaller than the pie that's in our head, right? So, but you're going to get to a point where they are not going to spend any more money. Fact. That's what negotiating is. So if you have 80% and you have some language around staffing and you have your medical mostly paid up, et cetera, and you haven't had to give up that much, You put it to your members. Now,
Yeah.
3,000 did something we didn't, which is they made a bunch of noise like this was the best contract they'd ever had. It's not. Okay. But it was a very good contract and they worked very hard to get it. And everybody's saying, oh, well, 3,000 kind of screwed everybody over because we promised, we had people from 7 there. We had people from 770 there. We had 3,000 there in a room and we all promised nobody was going to blink. We will not fucking blink. We all stood around a table and we said it out loud. And so everybody was like 3,000 blinked. But when we were in the same spot, and keep in mind, Colorado was out on strike and we were literally 5 minutes away from a strike. We had reps driving to stores with signs. Okay. We had picket captains coming to stores to start the process. 5 o'clock in the morning, we were going to go and the company showed up with 80%, including all of our medical. And so we got Colorado out. Do we risk the strike? Because if we go on strike, this big offer they just give us, that gives us like literally like almost 80% of what we were asking. It wasn't everything. And we went back and we got a few more things from that point. But do we blow that up for solidarity?
Fuck yeah. Oh, shit.
I mean, voting no on that strike is the biggest mistake I've ever made. I will say that. But I did vote no for 2 reasons. One, the medical was so important. The additional pension benefit was so important. And 2, I'd been awake for like 42 hours at this point and eaten about 400 calories in that same amount of time. And that makes you hesitant.
Dude, when that's happening to you, are they going through the same thing? Like, are they just,
no.
Dude, because like, I'm telling you, like, I looked like shit and everybody else that we could see looked really good.
Yeah. They looked stressed, but we were like literally practically ready to faint. And we're not doing, that's one of the things we learned from last time. We learned from this time is we're not letting them pull that bullshit. Like next time, and I probably won't be on the bargaining committee. But there will be, hang on a second. My thing's being weird. Okay.
You back.
There will be people from this bargaining committee on the next bargaining committee. And when they start pulling this, oh yeah, we'll be back in 2 hours bullshit, we're going to say, no, we'll meet you back here at X amount of time. If you're not ready, we'll add 8 hours and we'll come back in the morning. We're not doing this, oh, we're going to go all night, which means basically they go away for 12 hours.
Yeah, forget
get some
that.
massages, get a big nap. And they keep saying, oh yeah, we'll be right there.
Dude, they probably got like an assistant just sitting there on their phone texting for them. Like, that is probably hella tired. Like you guys,
not even there.
Oh yeah, 100%. Not 1,000%.
Right?
I don't, dude. It got crazy. Like I'm telling you, it was pretty fun. Like gearing up for everything, and like we didn't have any formal action like in our local like regarding this campaign. So everything we did was just like straight up homegrown. Like we did like our duct tape campaign day where we just like taped our sleeves up. Dude, my manager was irritated, and it's so funny because she's like, her pride is too great to come to me and be like, what's with this tape? I have to like hear through the grapevine that she's like whispering like, you guys look stupid, like what is this all about, like da, 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 da. I'm like, like the tape is sitting on my desk, come ask me what's going on, I'll tell you all about it. No.
We had all our store directors going to Colorado.
Oh yeah, we had managers get sent there too, and that's the time to walk, right? Like, and from where I was at, I was like, yeah, here we go. This is the plan. The masterminds behind the scenes have been wheeling and dealing this all the time. Colorado goes boom. All of our managers go boom. We go boom. Counterpunch. Seattle's out. Boom. You're dead. We win. Like, hello.
Right. But
in
really,
my imagination, that's how it happens.
Right. And also in the imagination, everybody thinks that these bargaining sessions are like the company comes in and they're like, we're willing to give you 5 cents over the next 3 years. And we slam our fists on the table and we're like, by God, no, we won't settle for, no. They come in, they hand out paper to everybody, and it has a either a proposal or a supposal. A proposal is like legally binding. They're making this proposal. If we accept it, then they cannot go back and forth on it at all. That's how we got our subcontracting language at the beginning. And then a supposal is sort of like, so if we say yes to this, can we take away that? And it's not legally binding, right? So they come in, they've got a proposal or a supposal, they pass it around, everybody reads it, and then some papers are, tapped, and people do the 2-hand tap of the paper. And then maybe there's a question. Okay, so you're saying that you want them as indentured servants for the rest of their lives. Okay, we're going to need to discuss that. And then they leave. And then we discuss it, right? And we're like, no, we are not settling for $270 over 3 years. That's ridiculous, or whatever it was. And then we write up our little response, and it gets emailed to them, and they say, okay, we'll have something for you in 2 hours. And then 9 hours later, they come back with another piece of paper, and it repeats. It's like, you're so angry kind of all the time. Like, I just see their little stupid faces, and I'm like, why are you so punchable? Right. But also, you're so bored. It's the weirdest thing.
Okay, so like in our situation, I think everybody we all had unfair labor practices, right? And we also got to the point where, like, because everybody in the like work environment, like, they're going to be more ready next time. The company is going to be more ready for what almost happened this time, next time, right? They were probably going, what the fuck is all this? Like, I have a feeling like they were pretty surprised. Like, this isn't normal. Like, what happened?
There's this guy, Brent Vaughn, who I call Cece, because there was a while where Kroger and Albertsons were colluding to not hire workers if workers from either store went on strike, right? They eventually got fined, like, real big for it. It's a big old NRL, national ULP, huge ULP. But at the bottom of all the emails on that, it said, let's CC Brent. Okay. So I call him CC because this is the guy, like, they come up with the shitty ideas, but he does the legwork. And this is the guy who's negotiating with us. So I don't really trust him to deal with us in a respectful manner because his job is literally to play out whatever they think up. So he's in LA. He's the spokesperson for, the company side of the table. He doesn't speak in Seattle, right? There's somebody else, a Kroger guy, does the speaking in Seattle, but he did stumble a little bit when he walked in and saw the three of us from 770 there.
Oh, I
just
bet.
just a little caught his foot on the carpet kind of a thing, which both Rachel and Kim missed because they were getting ready to take notes, right? Like, I suck at notes, so I got to see it. And that was probably my favorite moment.
I bet. We'll see. So, maybe he can walk into a lot of bargaining rooms and see a lot of UFCW members by next contract. Because I will say Local 7's approach to, like, walk in and participate. Like, you mentioned, like, at the beginning, people talking about collusion and you're in bed with the company and all that kind of stuff. Like, we've been dealing and having to work through, like, those same feelings and thoughts, like, ourselves as we're going through this process. And what I've come to conclude is that the lack of transparency just opens up the door to conspiracy thought. Like, when you don't see, when it's not only can you not see, but it's like a black hole. Like, it's literally like this information vacuum. That opens up the door to all this. Like, I think I saw a guy in a black suit with a briefcase handcuffed to the handle walk out of the negotiating room. Like, weird, like, and I think the answer to that's just to open the door. Like, this is like democratic unionism. Just open the door. Like, if you want to make some money, if you want to boost some sales, why don't you get a hold of TLC and make it a reality show? And you guys can negotiate, like, live on stage in front of a studio audience and call me out on strike, and I'll go throw a firebomb across the street. Like, let's make, you want to make an event out of it? Then, like, I just don't, this idea that, like, oh man, dude, like the doors have got to be shut and whatever, blah blah blah. I just it me and my rep were talking about it, and basically because it was that he came in and was like, man, it sucks that we're coming on the other side of this and people are like worried and not like happy. And I said, well, we don't even
Not
know.
stoked.
Not only do we not know what the contract is going to be, we haven't seen it. Like, we don't even know what you were trying to get. Like, we don't even know what the number is that you were fighting for. So all we have to go off of is what everybody else has already gotten, and because that information's out there. So we're having to try to fill in these gaps, right? But we also took this like internal survey, and the internal survey said we all deserved 30%, the one that we took for ourselves. And that is the like, when you're talking about the size of the pie, like that's going to the company, and not like when they say, hey, here's the size of the pie we have and it's a little home run pie. That's not saying, it's not like, oh no, the pie's actually bigger. It's when you say you want a 30% raise, it's like, actually give me the 2 pies that you have hidden behind your back. That's what that is. And those are fighting words. So I understand that that's a big swing, but like, man, people like in our area specifically too, with like all these contracts having raises that are only hitting the top scale and not providing raises. Like in our situation, we've got multi-purpose clerks that have got to work for the company for like 10 years before they're going to see the top scale wage, a decade, when the average worker is working 2.5 years. Here's what's going to happen if we continue to get active at the rate that we're getting active. We have a lot of young people and a lot of temporary workers, people that are working like 2.5 to maybe 3-4 years, not people that are making a career out of this grocery store. So our next if all these people start to get activated and get involved, and they realize that they can like vote on their contracts and stuff, what if they just start pushing for wages? What if we lose our benefits and we lose our pension because a whole wave of workers that have come in and replaced this career with a second job do not care about the future? They just care about right now. Give me my money, give me my Spotify subscription, and then what? Because that's like, we're in a situation now where, even in our situation, we're getting active at a very fast rate up here, and there's a reality where like we can mobilize a majority. And when I'm thinking about like, hey, we want to do all these like really positive things, like that's great, but like what I just described could also happen, and I don't think that's good.
Well, and the thing is, the company would love that, because the company,
yeah, exactly,
the companies love churn, right? Because the shorter you stay, the less money you make, the less raises you are, the less chance you have of moving into a higher paid position or a management role or something else that usually comes with premiums or benefits. So they would love that. Because like I said, they do not care how their stores are run by right now.
Can't tell.
Yeah. Like, they think people are fine with long lines and empty shelves and all the rest.
They don't want the customers to come into the store. And then all of a sudden, like,
no, they really don't. That's
like,
why they're making such a big deal out of drive up and go and whatever your e-com's called.
And then they want to go, hey, hey, sad news, the margins on .com are getting slimmer. It's like, really, the margins are tighter when you have employees shopping for people. Who'd have guessed it?
Shocking. That's crazy. And then also, and they're trying to bring like courtesy clerks in off the street who don't even know the store to shop.com, and they're saying, and you have to shop 100 items in an hour. And I'm like,
let me tell you what that means for every other employee in the store. It means you have a new employee who's only going to be there for a couple weeks or a couple months, coming up to you asking you where the fucking carrots are every 3 or 4 minutes.
Yeah, now you have people that you work with shoving a camera in your face, or a phone in your face, going, where is this? Where did it go?
It's like, bro, you got the job, dude. Like, go be a courtesy clerk for like 6 months, learn the store. And then there used to be and that used to exist. Like, there used to be this progression of like, come in, gain the skills, get better, gain knowledge of the store, get good customer service skills, like get your grocery legs under you. Like, I remember when I came in as a courtesy clerk, dude, like after the first couple weeks, my feet were about to explode off my body, dude. I'd never like done so many steps, right? And I was like, I swear, I was like a 27-year-old man, dude, second chance at life, working at Safeway, and I'm sitting on my ass like, I don't know if I can do this, man, my feet. And you
those
get,
carts are heavy.
yeah, and you just get through it, and then all of a sudden now, like when you go walk around, you just leave everybody in your dust. Like if you're walking with non-grocery people, like I'll see you later. Like you can't keep up with these legs. That's like
Yeah.
all this stuff. Like, and Jake as a meat cutter, he can totally speak to it. He speaks in like a skilled trade, like that. The respect for that, when these Cerberuses and all these other private equity and these billionaire jackwads come in here, they disrespect the trade, they disrespect the business, and the result of that is like what you see is this declining work environment. What can we do to stop that? What can we do to fix it? I go, yeah, what do you got? Say something.
I got
Let's
the
hear it.
beginning of an answer. Okay, the one
Yes.
thing that I know for a fact that we got, that 7 got, that 3,000 got was staffing language. And our staffing language is fairly simple. And the most important part says the company agrees to meet every now and again. They have to do it at least like 3 times a year, but when necessary, right? To discuss reasonable staffing within the stores so that the stores don't have all the problems that we've talked about. Okay. And the fun word right there is reasonable, because it's not what the company thinks is reasonable. And it's also not what the union thinks is reasonable. Reasonable, when you're talking contract language, means what would a third party, a reasonable human being, think about what's going on. So for example, I'm a e-com lead, right? And I've been keeping track of every single person who is not in my department and how long they spend in my department every day, right? The easiest way to do this, I don't know about up there, but in SoCal, is Starbucks, because you have to be specially trained to work in a Starbucks, right? The Starbucks in the store are actually union employees. They don't hire enough of them. So the Starbucks people cannot take their federally mandated breaks and lunches.
Oh yeah.
There's nobody to cover them, right? Now, if you go to any reasonable person or any reasonable arbitrator and you say, is it reasonable that these people can't take their federally mandated breaks and lunches? They're going to say, no, that is not reasonable. And at that point, we now have contractually binding language. Remember, your contract is a legally binding document, right? That they have to fix that. So we have ways now, but the problem is the pressure's on us. The onus is on us. We have to prove it. And by we, I mean membership. I don't mean stewards. I mean, like, we all have to keep track of those things in our department. It's kind of tough with you because, you're a receiver, right?
Mm-hmm.
You work by yourself.
Everybody dumps their shit on me.
There you go. Keep track of it. But you're also in a position to start talking to other people and figuring out where in their department is that simple, easy to understand, easy to keep track of. Because all a Starbucks employee has to do is whip out we have these books that the union hands out to keep track of your hours, right? All they have to do is put the dates in for a month and just mark off every time they didn't get a break or a lunch.
Yeah.
That's it. That's all they have to do every day. No break, no break, no break, no break, and no lunch, right? You get 10 Starbucks in Los Angeles doing that, we can fix the Starbucks. And then we move on, right?
So it's worker activation, right? It's everybody getting educated, everybody getting activated. For that to work across like 10 Starbucks, like you said, we have to have a network and ability to communicate. So everything that we're doing right now, everything that we're doing here, like talking to each other as like rank and file people, is what needs to keep happening. Build those networks, build those connections, report those contract violations, educate yourself, know your contract. Actually, if you actually, and for, everybody who wants to pass judgment on a contract, you should probably know it first. Like, you should probably have a good idea of what it is. Like, things like that in your contract might slip by. Like when you're looking at your wage table, maybe there is other things to it. I am like, sliding towards the, like, we need to be able to pay our bills, and then let's like talk about other stuff, like situation in terms of like, I personally, and I'll put it out there, but like the multi-purpose clerks, these wage scales for the middle and the bottom, like the bottom definitely, they're too low. And I know these contracts aren't going to include them, and I find it insane to me that the majority of the employees that gain no benefit from these contracts are still voting to pass them. It's insane to me. And I
Well,
just, it doesn't. Go ahead.
we did try to get something for everybody. So with people who are still in the progression to top pay, we got everybody to jump up one in the
That's
progression, which
actually, that's awesome. So
yeah,
I'm glad
and
you mentioned that because I forgot about that. And can you explain? I have a question about that. Can you explain that to me? Because I saw that and I think Local 7 got it too. But
yeah,
everybody takes a step progression, which is basically you got a raise. You
yeah.
can sell that to me if that's in my contract. Like I'm like, okay, that's a raise. I have a question. If let's take two example employees. One of them is 400 hours away from step progression. One of them is 10 hours away from step progression. When they get that raise, do they maintain that differential or is it a
They
full
don't. They
reset?
don't. We spent a whole day on that, and we couldn't make it happen. We knew that we couldn't
That would
make
have
that
been
happen,
awesome.
and we couldn't shrink the progression because right now it's like I think 800 or 900 hours. It's so high, and we wanted to shrink that
Not high
progression.
enough. You want to let's not talk about what we got up here.
Yeah, but I mean, we wanted to make it like 600 hours so that in 5 years you could be at top pay.
That's
Like, and
perfect.
they were not going for it.
That is double the time, the average length of an employee. They're working 2.5 years.
Yeah,
Dude, if you can double that and get top pay, you'd have some people that stuck around.
yeah. And you have some people who actually know what they're doing, but like I said, they don't. They love the churn, right? They love it. They don't. There's a few. They want department heads. They want meat cutters with a lot of experience, right? Because that saves them a bunch of money. Because
Mm-hmm.
meat cutters who don't have a lot of experience tend to be slower, right? And the ones with a lot of experience, they know what they're doing. They make beautiful meat and they're fast. So they want that. They want a really good bunch of produce guys because produce such high turnover, right? Between the shrink and the people buying it, like we go through like 20 boxes of bananas a day at my store. So you need somebody who can load that up quick. So they want that. Everything else, even cashiers, they don't care about, right?
Yeah,
They
Dude,
cashiers used to. Yeah, it was a process to be a cashier. At one point, you had to go through an
yeah.
apprenticeship and everything like that. Now, once you're an was it an NPC, multi-purpose clerk? Boom, you get thrown right on a register immediately.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, see, we don't have in SoCal, we don't have multi-purpose clerks. We have what's called the combo program,
Mhm.
right? And the combo program says that wherever you are in the progression from the hours that you have gained while working in higher paid progressions is kind of the raise you get above your courtesy clerk pay. So most people are getting like 10 cents an hour. So we got them if they've been in the store for longer than 9 months, they now get 50 cents an hour every time they work in a higher paid department. But our combos are not allowed to work more than 15% of the total courtesy clerk hours can be used as a combo. So you either have to, you know, make them, give them what's the word I'm looking, words are hard. When you give somebody, when you put them in a higher paid, there's a word.
Step up.
Anyway, promotion. You have to
yeah,
either give
yeah.
them a promotion or stop using them. So, um, now, and they have to keep track of their own hours at a higher paid position, which will be a lot easier for them to do now if they're getting paid an extra 50 cents an hour than when they were getting 10, because they're like, why am I even going to bother? Now they'll bother. And now we can go in and we can do an audit. But we tried to get all purpose clerks, right? And we tried to bring them all up to what our top paid clerks are, which are food clerks,
Mm-hmm.
which is the weirdest thing in the world. It's like anybody who uses an electric hoist, um, and cashiers. Like it's so bizarre.
Weird.
Um,
Yeah, we have two classifications. I mean, aside outside the meat department, we just have courtesy clerk and multi-purpose clerk.
yeah,
Like,
and
yeah, and
and
then they're separated.
multi-purpose clerk is actually what we wanted because you can't say that any job is harder. I mean, I've worked in a couple of different stores, and I can tell you that the hardest job in both the stores I worked at was deli.
Yeah.
The way they sold it to Rayleigh's anyway was that you where you used to be locked into a department and you
Mm-hmm.
get cut down to your 28 hours.
Right.
Now you can go pick up your hours in another department what you
Okay,
said
wait.
before.
Can go back a bit. When you said the way they sold it, do you mean the union or do you mean
Yeah,
the
union.
company? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I was like, wait, because the companies have been fighting us on this all-purpose clerk.
Gotcha.
Because
So
it
this
makes
is
it
good.
easier to give raises.
Mm.
See, if you have different tiered departments, you can say, oh, well, this department's already making so much more. So yeah, so there's because they know that we want to bring the all-purpose clerk up to the highest pay
Yeah, I mean
that is possible.
I think that's where they got us, was when they got the multi-purpose clerk job classification. It also came with a huge drop down in what the top out was against what used to be the food clerk position, and they
Right.
also extended the step hours by like over double. So it was a 13-step progression. Now it's an
Right.
8. Now it's an 8-step progression, but it's like it's over 10,000 hours to get to the top of that 8-step progression.
Okay, that's crazy. And I do know that when Colorado moved to the all-purpose clerk, um, they didn't get as much money because their thought process was kind of what Washington calls the 369 and what I call Lego language, right? 369 is we get this contract 3 years from now, we get another contract and we build on it. We build on it. I call it like Lego language, like you're building a house, right? So you got some blocks going, you got some outline going, you need more blocks. So you basically set up so that next contract you can do better. So you get an all-purpose clerk, and then you say next time when we're going for a raise, we're going to say $5 for everybody instead of $3 for the food clerks and $4.95 for the GM clerks, which is basically what happened down here in SoCal because we still have the difference because we're trying to create parity.
That's what everybody that's got that position is now like in this like race to try to get it like pulled up to where like the food clerks are, and you know, hey, shocker, company's not doing it.
Yeah. Oh, I know. They're like, pay people. We hate that.
Yeah, no, dude, you suckers, you took that shit. Now you can eat it for the rest of your life. And also, yeah, by the way, work in 9 different departments and get paid $16.70. That's cool.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, that's tough, dude. I mean, you can't. I have a counter argument. If you're trained to work in 5 different departments, you should be paid more. That should come with additional pay. You are more valuable in the store than any other person. You can work in 5 different departments, and you're making $17 an hour. I'm a receiver. I'm making 28 and change.
Yeah.
That's not right. That's the value. I understand, like I understand the dynamics of it all, and I'm not gonna, like, you can't have 10 of my dollars. Like, that's not what's up. But you deserve more.
Right.
Like, we all deserve to be coming up on this a little bit, and my fear is that that's not going to be addressed in this contract. But I'm really excited to get my hands on the deal, and to be able to talk about it with all my brothers and sisters, like in local 8, like in our stores, and be like, what do you guys feel about this? What are we doing? What do you think? I've got people that are like straight up, hey, like they went to the union meeting, and we were, one of 15 people there. Jake was there, and they said, I want Juneteenth recognized as a federal holiday in my contract. And they were like,
possibly.
We'll see what we can do. My union rep straight up said out of his mouth, all federal holidays matter.
Well, we wanted that too.
With a straight face. Did you get it?
Oh,
it's fighting words. Like, I don't know if you guys know, but NorCal will hit the streets for Juneteenth, dude. Whoa, what?
We had to compromise on that because that was a holiday we wanted as well. And I know that back in 2004 we had a huge strike, and now we have a 2-tier system where if you are from the contract from before 2004, you get all the goodies, and if you're on a contract from after 2004, you're a peasant, your life sucks, and you're worth nothing. And one of the goodies that they still have is they have 3 personal days a year.
Very
and
nice.
We were like, so what we wanted was 3 personal days a year and Juneteenth.
We say personal days, you mean like floating holidays?
Yeah. Yeah, it's a holiday. It acts just like a holiday. It acts just like, you get paid for it if you don't take it. You can take it whenever you want. I mean, you can't be like, today is my personal day. Fuck y'all, I'm leaving.
But you can request
No,
Juneteenth off and get paid for it.
exactly. So we ended up with one personal day for the post 2004 people, and we didn't get Juneteenth. And I will say whenever they would get to that point in a proposal where it was written out, their little noses would crinkle ever so slightly, just a little.
Well, I want to give a shout out to the person. I'm not going to call them out by name, but I do want to give a shout out to the person who did make this suggestion at the meeting, and I gave my full support. I'm not behind a contract that doesn't include it. But what they said was, I already know that I work for a racist company. I'm trying to find out if I'm part of a racist union.
Oh,
I mean,
that's so good. I mean,
it is. Listen, it's not
it's so good,
like
and
this
it's so
isn't.
bad because I'm
this,
trying to get people to
This isn't
work
this.
with their union. But
You're not. This isn't radical. Like this asking for a living wage isn't radical.
No.
To me, settling for less than needs to be the radical idea, and I think these conversations need to keep happening. I think there's a lot of hope for the future in like us continuing to make sure that we stay connected and we share these ideas and share these thoughts. I do want to wrap this up, but before I do,
okay, but
go.
super quick.
No, yes, go ahead.
Okay, a living wage is not a radical idea at all. No, the radical idea is a thriving wage. That's where
I'll
we
take
need to
that
get
too.
it.
Yeah.
Okay, like a living wage is normal. That's a normal idea. Why is that radical? You get to live. This is radical. Like, I mean, and when we say
I mean,
a
it's
living
seriously,
wage,
dude.
what do we mean by a living wage? We mean we can eat food and pay our rent. That's usually what the definition of a living wage is. How can that be radical? No, a thriving wage. You want to get radical, ask for a thriving wage.
I would like to say, like, if I would love to work for a company. So Safeway, if you're listening, I would love to work for a company where I could proudly say that they're never that if you work here, you make a living wage. If you stay here, you make a thriving wage. And
Beautiful.
That sounds like, a very good like trade-off. So Jake, you and Rayleigh's are going up next. You're our last chance for hope. Can we count on you and your team to strike for 30% raises?
I'll vote no for it. If it doesn't have a 30% raise, I'll vote no. Actually, I'm telling all meat cutters vote no. I'm stuck on that step up meat cutter job. Yeah. And every meat cutter I talk to, they agree. Like that's just opening the door to a part-time meat cutter.
Yeah, don't do that.
At that
You
point,
will
what's the fucking
never
point?
get it back. Yeah.
But we have it. Well, right now we have it, and it's this was sold to us like, with a step up meat cutter, which I think they get something like 40 or maybe 80 hours of training total. Their work usually they'll end up cutting maybe 1 or 2, 3 times a month or something like that, because it's supposed to only step up for emergencies. But that doesn't happen. They're there to fill in shifts. We're at a point now where these untrained kids, they're training the next group of part-time step-up meat cutters. So now we're doubling down on,
on untrained
trade.
Someone's gonna lose an arm, bro. And did you guys take that on the COVID contract? Like that sounds like some language that would be put in like during a time when like you couldn't get enough help.
There's that holdover contract 2020. They're just, hey, let's just do this until 2022 type of thing, and but now.
Yeah, you got to fight that. I mean, we were actually lucky to get all, not all, we still have some, but to keep subcontractors out of our stores. And I don't know if you noticed, but 3000 was forced to make a very small concession on that point.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's how I was like, oh man, I don't know where you're going with this. But, I the thing about 3000 is they are always looking to the future. I'm sure they have a plan, but will it work? The other thing is like 3 years from now, SoCal is going to be kind of sitting pretty because we'll have the Olympics. So we'll have a threat for that, right? So we need to get everybody together again so that we can use our SoCal thread for you guys. So we need
We're not
to start
going anywhere.
Yeah, we
We'll
work at grocery stores. Of course, we're not.
We're stuck.
Yeah, there ain't no way. There ain't no way we're getting out of here. So I will throw this out to the union members that are listening, especially UFCW Local 8. Like there's a reality where people are going in and bargaining, and all different kinds of bargaining models exist throughout all these locals. And whether you're open or closed or partial or have members on the bargaining committee, if you don't have a solid idea of what your members want, there's something wrong. Like you need to know what it is that your members want. And so we as union members need to make that very known, very vocal. We need to speak to our reps, speak to our leadership, attend our meetings, participate in the surveys. If the surveys aren't asking us the questions that we think need to be asked in order to say things like, I want Juneteenth, like in the survey that Local 8 got, there was not a way to express that in the poll that you took. So there needs to be robust communication. If you don't get that robust communication, unless you're going to run for local election and participate in leadership and change the model of your union, which is totally an option, when your contract gets signed, when the TA gets signed and it comes to you, look at it. Build this coalition with your coworkers so that you guys can all look at the contract together and you can decide as a group, is this something that we want to accept? If you don't want to accept it, you have the ability to vote no. If that's the first time that your union comes to you and asks you what you want because that's the first time they realized what they did wasn't good enough, that's on them. And maybe next time they'll ask before they start bargaining. Who knows? But you do have the ability to ratify the contract if you think that it's something that improves your life and working conditions to your satisfaction, or not ratify the contract. And I suggest that you take the time to educate yourself and get involved and help build a stronger union. Everybody that you see on this call right now is going to be here, God willing, next contract cycle, and we'll have more and more and more and more friends connected across the country from the UFCW, and we'll see if we can maybe knock off some sort of a coalition. I think there's a way we can do it. I think we can get it done. We have a lot of time.
Yeah, we have like 3 years to build some solidarity. That's a healthy chunk of time. Also, for both of y'all, when it's time to vote on your contract, after you see what it says, vote no. Never vote yes on a contract. I mean, enough of your fellow members will that it'll probably get passed, but give them that 15-20% that lets them know they got to work. I voted no on my contract. I was on the bargaining committee.
Hey, I think actually what you might have just said the words that needed to be said to trigger an actual no outcome in NorCal.
Yeah.
I said that I wasn't going to vote yes on the first contract I saw because I don't agree with no proposals or anything being shared with the membership ahead of time, personally. And so, there's a lot of different reasons and a lot of different promises I made to my brothers and sisters about things I needed to see to feel comfortable voting yes. And each and every person, that's the beauty of this process, even as limited as it is for some of us and some of our locals, we do get this huge opportunity to impact our futures, and it's this contract vote. And it's not a no deal, it's not a who cares deal, it's not a you shouldn't be there and participate deal. It's like the exact opposite. It defines the next 3 years of your life. So I was excited to get to talk to you, Jake. It's always good to see you. Kathleen, we've been just like kind of touching base since like all the things have been heating up, but everything's been so wild, so it's been really nice to get to sit down and talk to you again. And wish us luck. We'll keep you in the loop on everything. I'm sure you'll watch the news.
Oh yeah and I'll be watching everywhere. And also, looking back over the coalition that we had here that was primarily member driven, try to keep in mind that none of this has ever been done before. All of the Colorado and Washington working with California, all of the members getting together and talking behind the scenes, all of the bargaining committee members getting together, that has never happened in the history of UFCW. So we didn't get it all this time. right? Because it was our first time and we made some missteps and we learned a lot. And we're going to take everything we learned and we're going to figure out how to apply it next time.
That's way more positive than I could have ended it on. That was awesome. Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah. Jake, do you got any last words? You good to wrap?
Oh, can't think of anything. Good night, guys.
Good luck, brother. All right, we'll talk soon. Later, everybody. Thank you. Goodbye.
Bye.